They say police raids are planned down to the second. Every knock, every step, every life or death decision. But this raid? This one was different, because a conviction didn't belong to the man they arrested, and the truth about the real homeowner left every officer in that house frozen, speechless, and scared. This is the story the department tried to bury. Subscribe, like, and tell us where you are watching from. It started at 4:17 a.m. A quiet street, a cold wind, a SWAT truck rolling in with no headlights. They moved fast. They whispered codes. They stacked up by the door. Boots, helmets, rifles. It looked perfect, like a scene they'd rehearsed 100 times. But the house wasn't the right one. Not even close. Still, go! A battering ram shattered the silence. Wood splintered, glass cracked. A woman across the street screamed and ducked behind her curtains. Inside, the lights flicked on, and that's when it all fell apart. A man stepped out of the hallway, half asleep, confused, hands raised. "Don't shoot, I live here." He was calm, too calm, as if he'd expected chaos, as if he'd already survived worse. "Get on the ground now." Officers tackled him before he hit the floor, his face pressed into the hardwood, his voice muffled, still calm. "You're at the wrong address." The lead officer sneered. "We have a warrant tied to this location." The man chuckled, actually chuckled, as they cuffed him. "Then someone lied to you." The officers exchanged looks, because something was off, very off. He didn't look guilty. He didn't even look afraid. He looked annoyed. They swept the house, room by room, closets, kitchen, garage, attic, nothing. No drugs, no weapons, no hidden rooms, no signs of criminal activity. But the strangest thing, the house didn't match the intel at all. The file said the target had a newborn, but this house had no baby supplies. The warrant mentioned a black SUV. This driveway was empty. The suspect had a limp. This homeowner moved like an athlete. "Something's wrong," one officer whispered. Another added, "Someone swapped the address." But who? And why? At the precinct, the mystery deepened. The man sat calmly in the interrogation room, legs crossed, back straight, no fear, as if he was the one investigating them. Detective Sims walked in. "State your name." The man looked up. "Marcus Langston." The detective froze, because that name did not belong to a regular homeowner. Marcus Langston was a federal contractor, a high-level analyst, a man with classified clearance, someone who wasn't supposed to live on a normal street, someone who wasn't supposed to be left unmonitored, someone who definitely wasn't supposed to be raided by local police. Sims swallowed hard. "What exactly do you do for work, Mr. Langston?" Marcus smirked. "If I tell you, you will have to file 3 separate reports, and your captain will beg me to pretend this never happened." The detective stepped out of the room, hands shaking, because the officers didn't just raid the wrong house. They raided the home of someone tied to federal intelligence. And that meant trouble, big trouble. Before Sims could notify the captain, a tech officer ran in. "You're not gonna believe this." She held the warrant file, the address, the layout, the suspect photo. Everything was fake, like it had been fabricated by someone with high-level skill. Deep fake-level details, perfect fingerprints, perfect timestamps, but all wrong. Sims shook his head. This looks real. Who would go through the trouble of faking a full warrant package? The tech swallowed. Someone who wanted us to raid that house specifically. Silence. The entire station felt it. The trap, the setup, the invisible hand pushing everything into place. This wasn't a mistake. Someone wanted Marcus Langston's door smashed down, and the police with a weapon. They brought Marcus back in. Sims tried to keep his voice steady. "We have reason to believe your address was targeted intentionally." Marcus leaned forward, voice low, cold. "I know." Sims blinked. "You know?" Marcus nodded once. "And you don't seem surprised," Sims said. Marcus exhaled. "Detective, your team walked into a war you didn't even know existed." Sims stiffened. "What war?" Marcus looked him dead in the eyes. The kind fought in the shadows. The kind with no uniforms. The kind where the first person to speak dies. Before Sims could ask another question, the lights cut out. All at once, the entire building went dark. Backup generators froze. Monitors died. Doors clicked. And then, a single emergency light flickered on in the hallway. Red, dim, barely alive. Officers scrambled. Is this a blackade? No, this is interference. Someone's in our system. Sims rushed back into the interrogation room, but froze at the doorway. Marcus was gone. Handcuffs on the table. Chair still warm. No broken locks. No open vents. No sound. Just gone. Disappeared. Like he was never there. The room felt colder. Like someone else had been inside just minutes before. Then an officer screamed from down the hall. Detective, the surveillance footage. It's been wiped. All 42 cameras. Every angle. Every recording. Erased. Sims felt the hair rise on his arms. Someone had orchestrated everything. From the fake warrant, to the precise timing of the blackout, to Marcus Langston's quiet escape. And the cops? They were just pawns. Just as Sims tried to process the chaos, the tech officer ran up again, breathless. Detective, you need to see this. She handed him a printed photo. Sims stared at it. A security camera still shot. Dated 3 days before the raid. Time-stamped at 3:14 a.m. And in the image, standing outside the raided house, was a figure, tall, hooded, face shadowed, but one detail was unmistakable. A badge, clipped to the belt, a police badge. Sims whispered, This was an inside job. But the tech officer shook her head slowly. No, detective, it's worse. She handed him one more photo. A second still shot. Same figure, same house. This time, the person turned slightly, enough for the camera to catch one side of the face. Sims' throat dried, because he recognized that face. It belonged to someone in the department. Someone trusted. Someone high-ranking. Someone who should never have been there. Sims whispered the name, and everything changed. Detective Sims stared at the photo. His hands trembled, his pulse hammered, because the face in the image, the officer recorded near Marcus Langston's house 3 days before the raid, belonged to Captain Roland Avery, his boss, his mentor, the man who signed the raid order. Sims whispered, This can't be real. But it was, and everything was about to get worse. The station doors swung open. Captain Avery walked in, calm, focused, uniform pressed sharp like a blade. He looked around the chaos. What happened here? He asked, voice steady, eyes a little too curious. Sims hid the photos behind his back. Generators flickered. Officers whispered. Everyone was on edge. Avery stared at Sims. Why is the suspect not in holding? Sims swallowed. Hard. He disappeared. Silence cracked through the room. Avery's jaw twitched. Disappeared. He stepped closer. People don't just disappear. Detective. Sims didn't blink. Neither did Avery. It felt like a duel, because now Sims knew the man questioning him was linked to the shadow figure that set this whole trap. A sudden alert buzzed on every computer. Screens flashed. Hard drives clicked. A strange code scrolled rapidly. Intrusion detected. Source, external. Priority, red. Tech officers panicked. We're being hacked. Again. It's pulling active case files. It's locking us out. Then every monitor turned black. A single line of text appeared. Stop digging. Officers backed away from their desks. Sims looked at Avery. Avery looked at Sims. Neither spoke, but Sims saw it. A flicker in Avery's eyes. Recognition, like he understood the message. Too well. Sims' phone vibrated. A blocked number. He stepped aside and answered quietly. A calm voice spoke. Detective Sims, you're in danger. Sims froze. Marcus. No names, the voice said. No locations. No questions. Sims clenched the phone tight. You escaped a secured building. How are you calling me? A short pause. Detective, I was never trapped. Sims felt a cold shiver crawl up his back. Marcus continued. The warrant was fake. The raid was staged. And someone in your department wanted me silenced. Sims whispered. Why? Who? You've already seen his face. Sims turned slowly. Captain Avery stood across the room, watching him like a hawk. Marcus added, don't trust anyone in that building, not even the ones closest to you. The line went dead. Sims rejoined the team. Avery stood in the center of the room, barking orders. No one leaves. No one communicates outside the station. We are locking this down. It sounded like control. Too much control. Sims walked to the tech lab. A junior analyst pulled him aside. Detective, you might want to look at this. She slid a USB drive across the table. This wasn't wiped with the others. It held onto a partial clip from the interrogation room. Sims loaded it. Static, distortion, then a few seconds of clear footage. Marcus sitting at the table, a shadow appearing behind him, not through the door, not through the vent, through the reflection, like someone had stepped into the room from a corner of the mirror. The figure leaned down, said something into Marcus's ear. The audio was gone. Then Marcus nodded and vanished into the shadows with the figure. Sims hit pause. What was that? The analyst whispered. It looks like someone turned off a camera from inside the network. Someone with unrestricted access. Sims stared. Only one person in the department had that level of access. Captain Avery. When Sims returned to the main area, Avery was waiting for him. Detective, he said quietly. Let's talk. Sims tensed. About what? Avery's smile was thin. Cold. About the fact that you're hiding evidence related to a federal contractor. He stepped closer. Evidence that belongs to me. Sims took a step back. Avery lowered his voice. I know you have the photos. The footage. The call logs. Sims tried to stay calm. How would you know that? Avery leaned in. Because I've been watching you since you entered that building tonight. Sims felt the floor tilt under him. Avery wasn't guessing. He knew. All of it. Then Avery whispered, You're in over your head, son. The tech analyst rushed in again, hands shaking. Detective, you need to see this now. She handed him a printed record. Sims scanned it. His eyes widened. It was an archive case file. Sealed. Restricted. Years old. Title. Project Go Signal. Status. Terminated. Primary asset. Marcus Langston. Handler. Captain Roland Avery. Sims felt the blood drain from his face. Marcus wasn't just a federal contractor. He was part of a secret program. A covert intelligence project Avery used to run. Avery wasn't trying to arrest Marcus. He was trying to erase him. And the raid was a cover. Sims looked up, just in time to see Avery walking toward the exit. And Avery wasn't alone. The same hooded figure from the surveillance still stood waiting by the door. Not a shadow, not a glitch. Real, watching him. Avery stepped outside. The hooded figure followed. Sims broke into a run. Captain, stop. But the station doors slammed shut behind Avery. Metal locks clicked. Automatic security bolts sealed. Every officer's badge lost access at once. Sims yanked on the door. Locked. He turned to the tech room. Override it. The analyst typed frantically. It's not responding. Someone else's control. Sims pounded the glass. Outside, Avery and the hooded figure walked calmly to a black car with no plates. The engine started. The car pulled away. And on the wall behind Sims, every monitor lit up again. Not with data, with a message. The same message. You're next. Sims stepped back. His phone buzzed again. Another blocked number. He answered with shaking hands. Marcus's voice whispered, Detective, they are coming for you. Sims swallowed. Who? Who is coming? A long, chilling pause. Then Marcus answered, The same people who came for me. Before Sims could ask, the station lights cut out. Again, doors slammed shut. Computers rebooted. A low electrical hum filled the air. Someone was inside the building, moving, fast. The officers drew their weapons. Sims whispered into the darkness, "Whoever's in here, show yourself." A voice echoed from somewhere deep inside the station. Not Marcus, not Avery, someone else. Someone they all thought was dead. "I told you," the voice said softly. "You should have stopped digging." The station was pitch black. No backup lights. No hum of machines. Just cold silence. Then, footsteps. Slow, measured, coming from the hallway that led to the basement archives. Detective Sims gripped his gun. Every officer pointed theirs too. But nobody fired, because the voice they heard, the one echoing through the darkness, belonged to a man who shouldn't exist. A man the department had declared dead 3 years ago. A man connected to Marcus Langston's classified past. Another step, then another. The figure entered the faint glow of a dying emergency light. Tall, lean, face partly hidden under a hood, but unmistakable. Officer Drew Harkel, a decorated tactical specialist, reported killed in an accidental training explosion. Sims whispered, "Harkel, you're supposed to be dead." Harkel lifted his head. One side of his face showed burn scars, fresh enough to be real, old enough to say he'd survived something brutal. He smirked. "Supposed to be." Officers froze, guns shaking slightly. Sims took a step forward. "Why fake your death?" Harkel chuckled. "Who says I faked it?" That answer sent a shiver through the room, because it meant someone else had tried to kill him, then buried his identity, to erase the evidence. Sims' voice cracked. "Who did this to you?" Harkel stared straight at him. "The same man you're chasing." Sims felt a tightness in his chest. "Captain Avery." Harkel shook his head slowly. "No, Avery works for him. Just like I used to. Just like Marcus used to." Sims stepped closer. "Then who?" Harkel's voice dropped to a whisper. "The director." Every officer exchanged looks. "The director of what?" Sims asked. Harkel grinned again, but there was no humor behind it. "The program that created us." Before Sims could ask more, the light snapped back on. All at once, officers shielded their eyes, and when they looked again, Harkel was gone, as if he'd vanished into thin air. A security alarm blared. A voice crackled through the overhead speakers. An authorized exit from sublevel access gate. Harkel had broken out. Escape. Sims sprinted toward the lower stairwell. 4 officers followed. They reached the basement door, only to find a message carved into the metal with something sharp. "You can't save him." Sims whispered, "Save who?" Before anyone could answer, a junior officer shouted from upstairs, "Detective, you need to see the lobby." They ran and froze. The front desk monitor displayed a live security feed, a street camera, focused on a dark sedan speeding away from the station. Plate unreadable, windows tinted, but the passenger? Clear. Marcus Langston, in the back seat, head down, hands tied, flanked by 2 unknown operatives in black tactical suits. He wasn't escaping. He was being taken. Sims slammed his fist on the desk. "Damn it, we walked right into it." The tech analyst pulled Sims aside. "Detective, he left something behind." She handed him a flash drive. "It was placed on your desk. No fingerprints. Encrypted. High level. Only you can open it." Sims inserted it into her workstation. A folder popped up. Name, Ghost Signal Level Z. Inside, a single video file. Timestamp, 5 minutes ago. Recorded inside the station. Cam 12B. Sims hit play. Static. Then an image appeared. Marcus Langston, strapped to a chair, hands bound, face bruised, in a dim, unknown room. A voice behind the camera spoke. "Detective Sims, if you're watching this, you're already too late." Marcus looked up directly into the lens. "Don't come for me," he said urgently. "They'll kill you. This is bigger than Avery, bigger than the department, bigger than the government." The camera panned slightly, revealing someone's silhouette standing in the corner. Tall, broad, Unmoving, Marcus continued. They don't need me alive forever. They just need the information. And once they have it... The silhouette stepped forward. Sims held his breath, because a face revealed on screen belonged to someone Sims knew. Someone Sims trusted. A senior officer, a high-ranking federal liaison, Agent Tyler Cross. Marcus whispered, Sims is one of them. The video cut to black. An alert pinged on the screen. Marcus had embedded coordinates inside the video's metadata. Latitude, longitude, a place outside the city, a restricted facility, abandoned, officially condemned 5 years ago. But the redacted footnotes told another story. Former use, Operations Command, Project Go Signal. Sims whispered, he wants us to go there. The tech analyst shook her head violently. That place is off-grid. No cell service. No backup. No surveillance. If you go in, no one gets you out. Sims loaded a magazine into his weapon. That's exactly why I'm going. As he grabbed his coat, his phone vibrated. A text message. No name. No number. Just a sentence. Do not trust anyone who follows you. Sims swallowed. He turned around slowly. Every officer in the room stared at him. Some terrified. Some confused. Some unreadable. Any one of them could be compromised. Anyone could be part of the director's network. Sims pocketed the phone. Everyone stay here, he ordered. But no one follows me. That's an order. He strode out, into the night, toward the abandoned facility, toward the truth Marcus risked his life to send. But as he reached his car, he froze. A figure sat in the passenger seat, waiting. Not Marcus, not Avery, not Harkel. Someone else. Someone he never expected to see again. A voice spoke from the shadows of the seat. You're late. Sims' heart nearly stopped. It was his former partner, reported missing a year earlier, declared dead months later, linked to the same classified program. Detective Lena Ward. Alive, breathing, staring at him with ice-cold eyes. Get in, she said. We don't have long. Sims whispered. Lena, you're supposed to be. Dead? Yes, that was the point. She leaned forward. Sims, if you want to survive tonight, you'll listen to me. Sims tightened his grip on the door. What's going on? Lena's expression turned deadly serious. The director knows you're coming. He's already waiting. And Marcus doesn't have much time. Sims swallowed. Then tell me how to stop him. Lena shook her head. You don't understand. You're not here to stop him. She locked eyes with him. You're here because you were part of the program too. Sims felt his world collapse. Me? That's impossible. She cut him off. No, it's time you learned who you really are. Cold air rushed into Sims' lungs. He gripped the car door, knuckles white, heart hammering. His former partner, Detective Lena Ward, a woman he buried a year ago, was sitting in his front seat, telling him he wasn't who he thought he was. Sims whispered, Start talking. Lena motioned to the passenger seat. Get in, Sims. You don't want anyone hearing this out here. Sims didn't move. Tell me what you meant. What program? Lena exhaled sharply. Fine, but once I say this, there's no turning back. She leaned forward. You weren't recruited for homicide because you were talented, Sims. You were placed there to watch someone, to monitor events, to stay close to certain targets. Sims shook his head. No, I passed the exams, the interviews, the screening. You were approved, not selected. Lena cut in. You were evaluated since childhood, tracked, screened. Your placement was predicted before you even put on a uniform. Sims could barely breathe. That's insane. No, Lena said. It's Ghost Signal. Lena opened a small metal case. Inside, a sealed document stamped. Top secret / Project Ghost Signal. Level Omega access only. She slid it to him. Sims hesitated, then opened it. Page 1 hit like a punch to the ribs. Subject, Sims, Aaron. Status, active asset. Role, observation, proxy // deep cover. Handler, Director Armiles. Sims throat tightened. I don't remember any of this. Lena nodded. You weren't supposed to. Sims snapped. That doesn't make sense. I grew up normal. I lived a normal life. I wasn't in any program. Lena stared at him. That's what all of us said until the memories came back. Sims felt dizzy. Why would they erase anything? Lena's eyes softened for the first time. Because the program wasn't training soldiers, Sims. It was training observers, people who could blend in, collect behavioral patterns, track potential assets. Sims frowned. What assets? Lena hesitated before answering. People like Marcus. People with a signal. Sims stiffened. Signal? What signal? Lena looked him dead in the eyes. You've seen pieces of it already. The disappearing, the hacking, the impossible escapes. Marcus isn't just a contractor, Sims. He's a carrier. Carrier of what? She whispered. An intelligence protocol that embeds itself into the human brain. Sims blinked. That's not real. Yes, it is. Lena whispered so quietly he could barely hear her. That's why Avery wants him back. Why the director erased me. Why they arrange your entire career to bring you to this exact moment. You don't protect Marcus. You activate him. Sims stared at her. What does that even mean? Activate him for what? Lena didn't get a chance to answer. A silent shot cracked through the night. Glass shattered. Lena slammed into Sims' chest, pushing him down. Another shot. Another impact. The passenger window blew apart. Sims rolled under the steering wheel. Sniper, he shouted. Lena pressed her hand against her shoulder, blood dripping through her fingers. They found us faster than I thought. Sims peeked outside. A black SUV idled across the street. Doors opening. Men in tactical suits emerging. No insignias. No badges. No hesitation. The director's people. Move! Lena hissed. Sims helped her out the other side of the car. Gunfire erupted behind them. Suppressors muffling the shots. But not the danger. They sprinted down the alley. Footsteps followed. Fast. Mechanical. Precise. Not police. Not military. Ghost units. Sims and Lena ducked into a construction site. Dark. Dusty. Half-built steel frames looming overhead. Lena winced in pain. We don't have long. The director doesn't send retrieval squads unless... She stopped. Unless what? Sims leaned in. Unless what? Lena whispered. Unless the asset he wants is you. Sims froze. Me? Why? Marcus is the one they grabbed. Lena shook her head. No, Marcus was a bait. You're the target. Footsteps echoed through the unfinished building. The retrieval squad spread out, weapons raised, infrared lasers scanning walls. Sims crouched low. Why me? Why would they target me? Lena grabbed his collar. Because you're not just an observer, Sims. You're part of the original signal batch. Sims swallowed hard. I don't have any abilities. Nothing unusual. Lena stared at him. Then why do you think every system in the station crashed when you got upset earlier? Sims blinked. What? Why do you think the cameras glitched near you? Why your case files vanish? Why your fingerprints sometimes fail to scan? Sims' heart pounded. I thought those were just system errors. Lena shook her head. It's you, Sims. You disrupt the grid without realizing it. Sims felt sick. No, I'm just a detective. I'm not some test subject. Lena looked over his shoulder. Try telling them that. Sims turned. 4 operatives stood at the end of the hallway. Their visors reflected red. Their rifles raised. Subject identified. One of them said, proceed with extraction. Sims whispered, they are not talking about Marcus. Lena pulled him behind a steel beam. Sims, listen to me carefully. If they capture you, you won't come back. Not ever. Gunfire ripped through the room. Concrete shattered. Lena grabbed Sim's face with her uninjured hand. You have one choice. Run now, or the program takes you. Sim swallowed hard. What about Marcus? Lena hesitated. He's alive for the same reason you are. And what reason is that? Lena looked directly into his eyes, to finish what the director started. Before Sim could answer, a spotlight hit them, too bright to escape, too sudden to dodge. A voice echoed from above, deep, calm, authoritative. Detective Sim, I've been waiting a long time for you. Sim's blood turned to ice. Lena whispered, that's him, the director. Footsteps approached. A silhouette stepped into the light. Sim stared, couldn't move, couldn't breathe, because the director's face was the last one he ever expected. Someone he had trusted his entire life. Someone whose death shaped his entire past. His father. The SUV skidded to a stop outside an abandoned factory. Rusted metal. Broken windows. Wind howling through the hollow structure. Detective Sloan killed the engine. Stay in the car, he said. Marcus didn't listen. He stepped out anyway, because everything in his body screamed that this was where the truth lived. Inside, the factory was silent. Dust floated like ash. Footsteps echoed. Sloan walked ahead, flashlight cutting through darkness. This is where Nora disappeared, he said quietly. Marcus froze. Nora Bennett, the woman the police claimed had been missing for years. The same woman Marcus believed was tied to his family's secret. What happened to her? Marcus asked. Sloan hesitated. Then, she tried to expose something. Something the department buried. Marcus's pulse then. What did she find? Sloan. But before Sloan could answer, a metallic clank echoed somewhere deeper in the building. They weren't alone. Sloan raised his gun. Get behind me. Marcus didn't. He stepped forward, voice steady. Who's there? A figure emerged from the shadows. Hood up. No sound except the drag of boots across concrete. Then the figure spoke, and the voice made Marcus's blood run cold. You shouldn't have come here. Marcus blinked. You? How? The hood dropped. It was the same man who had stood in his living room during the raid. The same man who whispered, you look familiar. The same man Marcus saw on the body cam footage shown in court. Officer Trevor Miles. Except he wasn't wearing a police uniform. He was wearing tactical black gear with no insignia at all. Marcus stepped back. You're the one they said was on leave. Miles smiled. Not friendly. Not human. I was never on leave. Sloan stiffened. Miles, put the weapon down. Miles ignored him. He locked his eyes on Marcus. You want answers about your father? The real reason they raided your house. The reason your fingerprints were inside Nora Bennett's car. Marcus held his breath. Miles lifted his chin. A twisted mixture of pity and warning. Your father wasn't the man you think he was. Marcus's heart slammed. What does that mean? Miles didn't answer. Instead, he reached into his vest and tossed a folder onto the floor. It slid to Marcus's feet. Sloan swore, don't touch that. Marcus did anyway. He opened it with shaking hands. Inside were photographs. Dozens, all showing the same thing. His father, standing beside men in suits. Men with badges. Men with the same tactical gear Miles wore now. Meetings in warehouses. Blueprints. Maps. Stacks of cash. And then, a final photo that knocked the air out of Marcus's lungs. A picture of Nora Bennett, alive, standing beside his father. Marcus staggered. This is fake. No, Miles said, stepping closer. It's the only part of your life that isn't. Marcus's head spun. My father worked for the government. Miles continued. Not the kind people talk about. The kind that erases problems before they exist. Sloan cursed under his breath. Trevor, stop, is not ready. Miles ignored him. He died because he wanted out, Miles said. But before he left, he told us one thing. He pointed directly at Marcus, that you were the one who could finish what he started. Marcus's knees almost gave out. How would I finish something I know nothing about? Miles tilted his head. That's the point. Sloan raised his gun higher. Trevor, stand down. He doesn't need to. Miles suddenly moved. Fast. Too fast. He lunged at Sloan, knocking the gun away. The weapon skidded across the concrete. Marcus, run! Sloan shouted, but Marcus couldn't move. He watched in horror as the two men fought. Hard, violent, practiced. Miles slammed Sloan into a steel pillar. Sloan hit back, landing a punch that echoed. Marcus grabbed the fallen gun, hands trembling. Sloan, he yelled, but before he could fire, Miles spun, grabbed Sloan's arm, and twisted. A snap echoed through the factory. Sloan screamed. Marcus lifted the gun. Miles kicked it free, sending it flying. Marcus stumbled backward. Miles closed in. You weren't supposed to dig this deep, he said softly. You weren't supposed to survive the raid. Marcus's pulse froze. What did you just say? Miles stepped closer. The moonlight caught his eyes. Cold. Empty. Your house wasn't the wrong target. You were. Marcus's breath vanished. But you said the house was a mistake for Warren. Miles smirked. That was a story. He leaned in. But the truth is, we were ordered to bring you in. Alive, if possible. Dead, if easier. Marcus felt the world tilt. You tried to kill me. Miles shrugged. Orders changed that night. Marcus's voice cracked. Who gave them? Miles opened his mouth. A thunderous bang ripped through the air. Miles jerked. Blood sprayed. Someone had shot him. He collapsed to his knees. Marcus spun around. And there, in the broken doorway of the factory, stood a silhouette holding a smoking pistol. A woman's silhouette. She stepped into the moonlight, and Marcus's entire body turned to ice. It was Nora Bennett, alive, breathing, staring straight at him. You don't know me, she said, lowering the gun, but your father trusted me, and right now, you need to come with me if you want to live. Marcus couldn't speak. Behind him, Miles groaned, trying to crawl. Sloan lay unconscious. Miles whispered something, barely audible. Don't trust her. Marcus swallowed hard. Nora extended her hand. Choose Marcus, she said, right now. Marcus looked at her, then at the dying man who tried to kill him, then at Sloan, then back to her. His heart hammered, his breath shook, his world shattered, and he made a choice. Marcus didn't know if Nora Bennett was a savior or the most dangerous person in the building, but he took her hand, because staying meant dying. Nora pulled him through a side exit, her steps fast but silent. She moved like someone who'd been hunted before. Marcus tried to ask questions, but she kept shushing him, listening for footsteps, checking corners, scanning shadows. Only when they reached her car, an old gray sedan with no plates, did she finally speak. Get in. We don't have much time. Marcus slid into the passenger seat. The interior smelled like coffee and gasoline. Nora shut the door, locked it, then punched the code into a small device wired to the dashboard. The engine roared to life. Who are you really? Marcus asked. Nora pulled onto the road. I'm the last member of a task force your father created. Marcus's heart jumped. He was a cop. No, she said. He was something higher. Something above local law enforcement, above the FBI, above anything you see on TV. Marcus stared. So why did everyone say he died in a car crash? Nora exhaled sharply, because that's what they do. When someone becomes inconvenient, they make their death look ordinary. Marcus clenched his fists. And you disappeared. Why? I didn't disappear, she said. I ran, because I found something. She took a sharp turn down a quiet road that led into the woods. Marcus swallowed hard. What did you find? Nora reached into her jacket. For a split second, Marcus braced himself, but she didn't pull out a weapon. She pulled out a flash drive and placed it in his hand. This, she said, is the reason they raided your house. Marcus stared at the tiny device. What's on it? She kept her eyes on the road. Evidence of a government unit that operates completely off the records. They recruit people, erase people, replace people. Every member is invisible by law. Marcus felt his blood run cold. My father was part of that. Nora nodded, and he tried to expose them before they turned on him. Marcus tried to breathe, but the air felt thin. Then why come to me? Her expression softened for the first time. Because your father trusted you. He told me, if anything happened to him, I had to find you, that you'd know the difference between what's right and what's easy. Marcus looked at the flash drive. So this is supposed to fix everything. Nora shook her head. No, this is supposed to start everything. Suddenly, headlights exploded behind them. Far too bright, far too close, and moving way too fast. Nora stiffened. They found us. Marcus twisted in his seat. A black SUV was racing toward them. Same model that hit his street the night of the raid. Same tinted windows. Same outline of men inside. Hold on. Nora shouted. She floored the accelerator. The sedan shot forward. Trees blurred. Gravel spat from the tires. The SUV closed in. Marcus gripped the dashboard. They're gaining. They are better funded, Nora said. But we're not dead yet. The SUV rammed them. Metal screamed. The car fishtailed. Marcus slammed against the door. Nora fought the wheel. Marcus opened the glove box. He did. Inside was a small black pouch. Nora shouted, "Grab the EMP." Marcus blinked. The what? The device. It looks like a flashlight. Marcus grabbed the metal cylinder. What do I do with it? Turn the dial to red. Point it behind us. Press the button. The SUV rammed them again. The sedan jolted sideways. Marcus nearly dropped the device. Hurry! Nora yelled. Marcus twisted the dial. A tiny red light blinked. He leaned out the window as cold wind whipped his face. The SUV was 10 feet behind them. He pressed a button. A low pulse reverberated through the night. The SUV's headlights flickered. Its engine sputtered. Then, the vehicle shut down completely. It skidded, flipped, and crashed into a ditch, bursting into sparks. Marcus collapsed back into his seat, panting. Holy! Nora cut him off. That wasn't the only one. And she was right, because up ahead, blocking the road, stood 3 more SUVs, perfectly aligned. Waiting. Nora slammed the brakes. Marcus stayed, breath fading. Is this it? He whispered. Nora reached over and grabbed his hand. No, not yet. Then she pointed toward the trees. We run, and whatever you do, don't drop that flash drive. It's the only thing that can expose them. Marcus nodded, heartbeat thundering. They threw open the doors and sprinted into the darkness as armed men poured out of the SUVs. Shouts erupted. Flashlights slashed through the trees. Gunfire cracked. Branches snapped under Marcus's feet. His lungs burned. His mind raced. Behind them, voices closed in. Don't let them escape. Take the woman alive. Kill the boy if you have to. Marcus's chest tightened. Kill the boy. Him. Because of a secret he still didn't understand. He and Nora crashed through brush and thorns until they reached a small clearing. Nora grabbed his shoulders, eyes fierce. Marcus, listen. If they capture us, the world never learns the truth. If something happens to me, you don't stop. You take this flash drive and you run until someone listens. Marcus shook his head. No, I'm not leaving you. But Nora's face changed. Her eyes dropped because she had heard something. Behind them, a single click, a gun being loaded. A voice spoke. Cold, calm, familiar. You should have stayed home, Marcus. Marcus turned slowly, and standing there, dressed in black, gun pointed, was Officer Trevor Miles. Bloody, alive, smiling. Told you, he said. Don't trust her. Marcus froze. Nora froze. The woods went silent. Miles's finger tightened on the trigger. You're coming with me, kid, whether you walk or I drag you. Marcus swallowed. Nora whispered, Marcus, run. But Miles cocked the gun. No, he said. Is done running. Marcus held a flash drive in his hand. The truth, his father's secret. The reason everyone wanted him dead. And in that moment, Marcus made a decision that would change everything. The gun barrel leveled at Marcus's forehead. Trevor Miles didn't blink, didn't shake, didn't hesitate. Marcus felt his pulse thundering in his ears. Nora stood beside him, breathing hard, calculating angles, waiting for the smallest opening. But Miles wasn't giving one. "Hand me the flash drive," Miles said, "and maybe you walk out of here." Marcus tightened his grip around it. "No," he said softly. Miles smirked. "Kid, your father made the same mistake. Look how that ended." Marcus's anger cracked through his fear. "You murdered him," he said. Miles shook his head. "No, I followed orders." Marcus's stomach twisted. "Whose orders?" Miles stepped closer. "That's above your clearance level." Nora moved, just an inch, but Miles snapped the gun toward her instantly. "Try it and he dies." She froze. "Smart girl," Miles said. "Now, flash drive. Marcus, final chance." Marcus exhaled. "Slow, calm. You said you weren't supposed to kill me," he said. Miles nodded. "Correct. So why are you about to?" Miles shrugged. "Bureaucracy changes. People get impatient." Marcus's jaw clenched. That was when he made his choice. He held out the flash drive, walked forward, and stopped just inches from Miles. Miles smirked. "Good boy." Marcus raised his hand, slowly as if surrendering. Then he dropped the flash drive at Miles's feet. It hit the ground with a tiny tap. Miles lowered the gun slightly, and in that split second, Marcus kicked the flash drive into the bushes. Miles's eyes widened. He spun, and that gave Nora the opening she needed. She lunged. The gunshot tore through the night. For a moment, everything froze. Marcus gasped, but the bullet didn't hit him. It hit Nora. She collapsed to the ground. "No!" Marcus cried, dropping to his knees. Miles aimed again, furious. "You just made this harder, kid." But Nora wasn't done. Bleeding, shaking, she reached into her coat and pressed a button on the tiny transmitter. A red light blinked. Miles went pale. "What did you just do?" Nora smiled, weak but victorious. "Sent the insurance file." Miles cursed. "To who?" Nora coughed, her voice strained. "To the only person who outranks you." Marcus's head snapped up. "Who?" Nora looked at him. "You're not going to like it." Branches cracked. Heavy boots marched. Voices approached. Marcus thought more agents were coming, but then a spotlight slammed down from above, blinding him. A helicopter, black, military grade. It hovered overhead, whipping leaves and dust into a storm. Miles looked terrified for the first time. No, not him. A rope ladder dropped, and a man descended. Black trench coat, gray hair, hard, icy eyes. A presence heavy enough to make the air feel smaller. Marcus stared. He had seen this man before. In the photos, standing next to his father. The man touched down on the forest floor, perfectly calm. Miles fell to one knee instantly. "Sir, Director Kane, I didn't know you were." Silence. Director Kane turned toward Marcus. His voice was low, controlled, dangerous. "Your father spoke highly of you." Marcus's heart stopped. "You knew him?" Kane nodded once. "He was my best operative, and my greatest liability." Marcus's stomach twisted. "You killed him." Kane tilted his head. "I ordered no such thing. He died because he refused orders. A betrayal." Marcus's fist clenched. "He was trying to expose you." "He was trying to expose us," Kane corrected. "A program built to keep this nation stable. You think your government functions on elections and speeches. No, it survives because men like your father removed the threats no one else could." Marcus stepped forward. "And now you want me to replace him?" Kane's silence said everything. Marcus inhaled sharply. "That raid, everything, it wasn't a mistake. You were testing me." Kane nodded, to see if you had his instincts, his spine, his anger. "You do." Marcus shook his head. "I'm not like him." "Your father said the same thing. Cain replied calmly, right before he accepted the job. Miles stood, voice shaking. Sir, he kicked the drive away. I can retrieve it. Cain raised a hand. Miles fell silent instantly. Director Cain stepped close to Marcus until they were eye to eye. You have two choices, Cain said. One, come with me. Learn the truth. Finish what your father started. Become the man he wanted you to be. Marcus swallowed, and the second, Cain's voice hardened. Two, I kill you. Behind them, the helicopter thundered. Agents filtered through the trees. Guns raised. Safety switches clicked. Nora lay on the ground, whispering, Marcus, don't let him win. Marcus's chest tightened. Cain extended a hand. Choose. Marcus looked at the hand, then at Nora, then at the forest filled with armed shadows, then at the flash drive hidden in the bushes. His father's legacy, his life, his future, all crumbling into one impossible moment. Marcus took a breath. Slow, steady, and he made his choice. He grabbed Cain's outstretched hand. Cain smiled. Good. But Marcus didn't shake it. He yanked Cain forward, dragged him off balance, and slammed the director into a tree. Cain choked. Miles shouted, Sir! Marcus yelled at Nora, Run! Then he sprinted toward the bushes, toward the flash drive, toward the truth. Miles fired. Agent screamed. Cain regained his footing. The helicopter dipped, floodlight sweeping. Marcus dove into the brush. His fingers closed around the flash drive. He ripped it free, and everything exploded into motion. Miles charged. Cain pointed. The agent surged. But Marcus didn't stop. He bolted into the darkness, clutching the evidence that could burn the entire operation to the ground. Behind him, Cain shouted, Find him. Dead or alive, bring him back. Marcus disappeared into the trees, running for his life, running for justice, running to finish what his father started. The end. If you enjoyed this true crime series, subscribe for more twisting, high-tension stories. Your support keeps the investigations alive.